I'll be honest, I didn't really realize how racist some people are until I'm in an all-white space and people don't realize that I'm mixed.
I have so many stories of growing up being biracial and white people just saying anything they wanted to say in front of me.
I grew up with an American mother, and while I was growing up, there was a lot of mystery surrounding her heritage. I always looked at my mother and I always felt that I was looking at a woman who was African American. When I would ask her about this, she would not have a clear way of answering me. Somewhere along this journey of asking questions, somebody gave me a book called Passing, and it was the first time that I had heard that word, that it was something that black people did during Jim Crow in America, that they passed for many things, past white, past indigenous. After reading the book, it was clear to me that the mystery and the enigmas within my own family were because my grandfather had spent his life passing white. Passing is a novel that was written in 1929 by Nella Larson at the height of the Harlem Renaissance. Before I read the novel, I didn't have language or context for what my grandfather did. After reading the novel, I had, I think, for the first time, a true understanding of that historical context. The erasing of history, the erasing of the stories of your family that get passed on for generation to generation it's a hard decision to decide to erase that and not tell your children those stories. And reading the book gave me a greater understanding of how hard that choice must have been for him. It also gave me a framework for thinking about my own racial identity. It is not lost on me that the systems of white supremacy that forced, encouraged my grandfather to pass as white are also the systems that I now benefit from as a white presenting person. There are privileges that come with looking how I look. I cannot choose how I present, but I can choose to honor that history.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen. So now, the first time we came across this term white passing was last year when we were doing some research here and there. And we kind of had an idea of what it meant. And to be quite frankly, I think I would understand why people during slavery and a little after slavery, and most especially during Jim Crow era, why they hid their black identities in order to get fair treatment like palm-colored people.
Get favors and opportunities, right?
Right. However, in today's episode, we are going to be looking at white passing teenagers, speaking of how they're using their white passing privileges.
Right, and how they use this white passing privilege to root out their racist friends, palm-colored friends who claim to not be racist, right? I found like this was very interesting, so we decided to bring it to you guys. Let's watch it and then let us know what you think about it on the comment section here. Also consider subscribing if it's your first time here. Let's watch.
One thing that I've noticed about being mixed, I'm half black, half white, but I think people who have any part black would probably be able to relate to this. And I know talking about being mixed on this app is not for the weak, but here I go. Also prefacing that I grew up in a predominantly white suburb. I go to a PWI, so I've been surrounded by a lot of white people throughout my life. But for some reason, racist people genuinely think they can confide in me. The amount of people who say things to me or who act a certain way or who are friends with me but not friends with any other black people or don't say anything to any other black people because they think that because I'm half black or I don't really look black, it's okay to say, it's okay to hang out with me, like I don't really count as black. Someone has actually told me that, well, she's not even that black to get mad about that. And it's always the people who are subtly racist and you don't know, and then finally their true colors come out. And I'm like, how have I been friends with you this whole time? And it's because they just don't think of you as black. So they don't have an issue with it. And then until they say something and get confronted about it, and then it's kind of like a, oh, well, And it's always just them apologizing or them being sorry that I had my feelings hurt and the intention wasn't for me to be upset or the intention wasn't for me to be hurt. But I'm like, you should be apologizing for being racist, not hurting my feelings. The issue is you being racist, not how I feel about what you said. I don't know if any other mixed people can relate to this, but I just feel like the racist people think they can confide in me, and it's disgusting. But honestly, I can catch them all. So if you wanted to put your friend up to the test or you wanted to see if someone was racist, send them my way because eventually it's going to come out.
I'll be honest, I didn't really realize how racist some people are until I'm in an all-white space and people don't realize that I'm mixed.
I hear racist stuff all the time. It's time to expose. One time I was with this group of white people, and the girls were talking about this girl who had jungle fever. And this white girl goes, "Isn't it a shame to see our race mixing with another? What's going to happen to our white purity?"
About the time that a hate group was started at my high school called the NHRA. I'll let you guys try and guess what that stood for. And my friends were curious as to why I was completely pissed off because I'm not full black.
I am Mexican, full-blooded. And one time I was dating this guy, and his grandpa just moved to a different house, and he said, "Yeah, I grew up over here." I'm like, "Oh, did you?" He's like, "Yeah, it's really different now." I'm like, "How so?" He's like, "Well, a lot of Mexicans and blacks live over here now."
I grew up in an extremely racist part of Louisiana. For instance, when I was in beauty school, going to one of my friend's house, and her mom asking me, like, "Does it gross you out to touch N-word's hair?"
I was at a pool party one time and this guy asked me, "What are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm mixed." And he asked me with what? And I was like, "Black and white." And he was like, "So you're a half N-word?" Then he turned to his wife and his whole family and was like, "Guys, guess what? Cole's a half N-word." And everybody's laughing.
There was another time where I was at a party, and the only other black person there left early. Right after he left, one of the white dudes there proceeded to say the N-word. Not even in a song or anything, just said it out loud. When I confronted him about it, he said, "What? He's not here anymore." Little did he know that I'm a double agent.
Right now, I look mixed as because my hair is done by normally pretty white passing. If you worked in film before, you know 11 hours is a normal day. A white passing Hispanic person had overheard one of the main actress's distress cries to the director. Let's call the actress Biffany Babish. Miss Babish says, "My feet hurt, it's time to wrap." One more take. Miss Babish says, "Okay, well then you gonna pay for my medical bills." And this white Hispanic had the audacity to say, "Ooh, I'm so glad we have Miss Babish to go get her on them." I said, "Ghetto?" She said, "Yeah, black." Or talking about going to clean my car and another friend's mom saying, "Oh, you gotta go get the N-words to clean it." N-words are so good at cleaning cars. They know how to clean cars so good. N-words, they're so good at cleaning.
He's like, "Do you don't want to live in a neighborhood that has a lot of Mexicans and blacks?" And I said, "You don't? Because why would you want to live in a neighborhood that has really good food and really awesome people?" My boyfriend at the time didn't say anything. Thanks, Kyle.
There's another time where we were talking about an opposing basketball team. We were talking about why the team was so good, and somebody goes, "They're only good because they let all the charity cases on the team." There were no white people on this team. I'm sure I'm not the only white passing person.
Hi, my name is Sophia, and today I'm going to be talking about my race and my ethnicity and how they affect me on a daily basis. So, before I begin, I want to discuss the difference between race and ethnicity, in my opinion, and how I think of it in regards to myself. So, the way I always thought of it was that race was what people saw on you, so the color of your skin, sometimes the texture of your hair, or facial features, and ethnicity is what made you who you are, like what your parents were, where you come from, things like that. So for me, my ethnicity is white. I have very European features. I have very light skin and kind of light eyes and light hair. But my ethnicity is biracial, which seems funny because you use a term with the word race in it to describe an ethnicity, but I'll get into that more in a little bit. So, I am multi-ethnic, biracial. My mom is black, and my dad is white. And the reason I say biracial when describing my race is because my mom is black and American and came to America through slavery many, many years ago, we don't really know where our family is from on her end. So I can't say I'm white and from Niger, or I can't say I'm white and Caribbean, or white and Brazilian, or white and African even, because we just don't know, and there aren't that many records documenting where we came from. So for me, the way I describe myself is biracial, white, and black. Now, for some, it may seem kind of odd. Maybe you know other white and black kids who don't look like me and have more like mixed looking features. I don't know why I'm as light as I am. It just kind of happened. But nonetheless, I am still a person of color. Now that can get confusing because when a lot of people think person of color, they think skin color. And that's, the way I see it, that's just not correct. Because being a person of color, in my mind, means you are not white. And I am not fully white. Half white. So the way I go about explaining this for the first time to people is I say I'm a white passing black person, or a white passing mixed person, or a white passing biracial person, or half black, half white, but white passing. Essentially the big word is white passing, which means I experience white privilege. I go about my life with people assuming that I'm white, and I get privilege that I experience the privileges that come with being white. For example, I am more likely to get a job if I say I'm white and not white and black. I'm less likely to be harassed because of my race, and I'm less likely to be treated differently because of my race with people who don't know me. So I kind of wear what my mom calls the complexion for the protection, which is interesting to me because I don't look like my siblings. My sister's very dark, and my brother looks mixed, but kind of still looks less passing than I do. So I go about my life with this disconnect from my ethnicity and my racial makeup because I don't look like what I am, and a huge part of being black is being connected, and a huge part of being part of any race is being connected with the people of your race. And that can be difficult because a lot of people don't understand why it matters to me that I am half black and half white when I do receive white privilege. And a lot of people don't understand why they should care and consider me a person of color when I look the way I do. And to that I say, I am what I am. I know what I am. And it is not up to somebody else to tell me what I can and cannot be racially.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this video in the comment section. One thing I have to say, guys, is that from the videos we've played, I feel like these kids, they're white passing enough that if they don't themselves tell you that they've got black blood in them, you wouldn't
exactly know.
Right.
And I feel like the last speaker, her name was Sophie, I believe, I'm not sure. Her name was let me just check quickly. Her name was Sophia. I feel like she really takes a huge step when she tells people, she deliberately corrects people and tell them I'm half black, you know. And you know, I don't understand this concept because, okay, I understand how America works and the one drop rule that if you have a single drop of black blood in you, it makes you black. But you guys, to be quite honest, if you came to Africa and you came with all these speakers, in Africa they're white, in Kenya they'd be called Muzungus, in Nigeria they'd be called Oigbo. Oibo. Right. Yeah. Nigerians in the comment section, please correct us if we are wrong. So in Africa, these people are quite white.
And when you look at the last girl you speak of, you can even look at Meghan Markle, and I feel like this one has more color than Meghan. And
Meghan Markle is white in Africa. In Kenya, she would be called Mzungu. And Torian Balisero. How many of you guys know Torian Balisero? She's an actress. We'll also put the images of all those people here. And a musician called Halsey.
Those are white. Okay, in Africa,
they're white.
It would be quite hard for them to explain
how they're black.
Yeah, about how they are half black, being that in Africa, a lot of them are used to seeing black people. So if you see anything other than black, that's a white person, you know. Anyway, guys, so let's go to the next point about how palm color people talk about black people when they're not in the room. And this takes me to another point where, like, for a black person, I'm not saying to not be friends with anybody, but I'm just saying
caution.
But even if you have caution, these people speak their mind, especially when you're not in the room.
I really felt it when the palm color. He is not palm colored. He is black. I'm confused. Okay, he is white passing. Let's say the white passing boy. When he said they were at a party, and when there was only one black guy, and when he left the party, the other palm-colored people started talking badly about him. And you guys, can you just imagine the black friend that is when he was sitting there with them, they're laughing in his face, pretending they're friends, and this black guy stands up and leaving. He leaves knowing he has great friends who are back there, who are seated down. Little does he know what they say about him. They even call him the N-word.
Which is quite sad,
It's really quite sad.
Yeah, so this goes to show, even if, people like saying, I'm not, it just takes the right moment for it to come out of here. And the first speaker, the lady who was talking about how she's been in predominantly white environments,
and they all confide in her about black people.
Right, and she was asking what makes them think it's okay and it's safe for them to confide in her. And others even go to the point of dismissing the black side of her, and they say she's not black enough. I feel like, personally, she asked that question, so I'm going to answer according to my own opinion. I feel like, have you ever considered the fact that maybe for them to confide in you, they want you to know how they truly feel,
so that you can get yourself out of their group?
I don't know if that is the intention, but have you ever considered that they truly want you to know their true feelings and intentions towards the other side, so that you sit there knowing? Yeah, so they talk in terms of, because she's obviously mixed, she's obviously mixed. When you look at her, she's not completely white. I'd say even the last
here in
girl,
Kenya, she'd be...
Don't leave alone Kenya, we're talking about where she is right now. Like palm colored people, they're really, really palm, like that. You can see the difference from how she looks. And then they go and confide in her, knowing very well she's not mixed with Mexican blood, she's mixed with black. And they confide in her and they're her friends. What does that tell you? Maybe they want her to know the true intentions and feelings they have
But
towards.
for that many to confide in her, I think maybe some of them may want her to know, but some of them might really think she's white.
Nah, I look at her and she kind of looks brown. There's some brownness in her.
Guys, let us know what you think.
Also, guys, let me know about this on the comment section. I heard that palm color people, they normally look at biracials and white passing people as less threatening than black people, because the idea has been sold that black people are dangerous, and that is what the public knows, that is what communities know. So at any time they've presented the black person as somebody to be feared, someone to be scared of, somebody dangerous, so they normally say, I heard that palm colored people feel like they can be comfortable with biracials because they're closer to them than people who are purely black. So I don't know, guys, you can confirm that for me on the comment section. So they feel like that is why right now, if there are black jobs in Hollywood or places of that nature, they take biracials to replace the black people, and then in their own opinion they feel like they've included black people.
Anyway, I think it's better to know, especially for the biracials, where palm-colored people stand, so that they too don't get fooled. Because already, I feel like black people, like people who have rich melanin, they already know where they stand. So it's important it's important for also the biracials to know where they stand with the palm-colored people. Some of them,
And guys, I don't know if you remember, we have a lot of new subscribers. So we have done an episode earlier where have kids biracials were talking about how they were raised by their white moms and the things that were said to them behind closed doors, you know. And I feel like the situation is similar, only that here it's compared to, it's not the mother, it's now their friends, you know. So it gives us a window kind of to look at, you know, what happens in the life of a biracial, them hanging out with these communities versus them being, you know, that whole picture, that whole scenario, you know. So I think we'll be pinning the video to this one so that you can get to watch that one as well. So let us know what you think about this episode in the comment section. As usual, we want to thank you so much for joining us and keeping us company here. Consider subscribing if it's your first time here, and we'll catch you on our next episode.